Alright guys, here we are with another video, another Flambient demonstration on my new technique and the method that I'm using currently. And I actually have been using it all summer long. The making of this video, or coming up on the end of September. So right around the very beginning of the season, which starts for me around late April, early May, right before Memorial Day. People want to get their house, once the snow melts and everything gets cleaned up, everybody wants to get their house on the market, so I get really busy around May. And I juggled back and forth between a few different concepts, and I came up with this method. My latest video, I've already talked about this, but I'm running with my EM1 Mark II with the Godox V1, which also works as a trigger. So I don't actually have to use the flash. I can use it as a standalone trigger, or I can use it as the trigger and the flash using the master function here. So if you are trying to figure out how to get your Godox V1 into trigger mode, you're going to keep hitting this button to the far right. Keep toggling through that until you see M, A, B, and C. M is the master. That is going to fire the actual Godox V1. And then group A would be your other flash. And I'm using another Godox flash. What is it? The Godox TT600. If I could go back, I probably would just buy another Godox V1. Sometimes I like to run TTL. In certain situations, it works really well and really fast. The only time TTL really doesn't work is if you're shooting a big open space and the lighting is super uneven. But if you're really condensed into like a bedroom, for example, it really works pretty well. And again, I don't really use TTL a whole lot because it is so inconsistent and ends up being slower than just finding that, 1/8, 1/4 power, whatever seems to be working throughout the entire house, and just using that. So with that being said, I run with the Godox V1 on top of the camera with a trigger, with a wireless remote trigger, and then I have this clipped onto my belt, my other flash, so I can do my flash pops. That way when I'm lighting multiple rooms, I'm still lighting the room that I'm in. It helps to even everything out, and it makes it quicker in post. Okay, so let's get back to the initial ambient layer. Now, I like to run with 3 brackets. So here's the other benefit. Let me just go back to that photo. What did I do with it? Well, let me see. Where is it? Hold up. Yeah. So the reason why I love the Godox, the reason why I love my EM1 Mark II is because I have on the dial here. Let's see if I can zoom in, and I've already talked about this in other videos, but right here is I'm on custom 1. When I program custom 1 to be my my auto exposure bracketing, which I run 3 images at 2 stops apart. So -2, 0, and +2. That's why I love this camera, because it actually does have that option. My Panasonic S5, which is full frame, I love that camera, but you can't run wireless trigger with it. Otherwise, it triggers the record video button. You have to use like the maybe I need a new cable for that, whatever. But it also in order to get 2 stops apart, you have to do 5 images, and that just the course of a shoot, that just ends up being too many photos to deal with. So I love to run 3 images 2 stops apart to get my balanced HDR image. And if you don't need the all 3 images, you don't have to use them, but I like to just, real quick racks it off, and it doesn't trigger the flash when I'm in bracket, or when I'm in auto exposure mode on my camera. So then I turn the dial to custom 2, which is just single image, and that's when I pop my flash. So the reason why I want to show this room is because this is the HDR image already blended, and then I turn my custom 2 dial and pop my flash off. And I think for this situation, I believe I left the Godox V1 on top of the camera off. And then I ran up the stairs and popped a flash. I did leave it on. So, but it wasn't that bright. but it helps to keep it illuminated a little bit so everything blends a lot better. And then I ran into the kitchen and popped a flash there. So what we're going to do is we're just going to bring all my 2 stars in, and I alternate between 1 star and 2 stars so I know all the images that I need to bring in, highlight them all, and then edit in, open as layers in Photoshop. This process, obviously, fast forward through it. I'm just doing a screen record, and I'm doing this in real time. And so once all these images get loaded into Photoshop here, we will begin this process, and it is super duper quick. I probably have to reboot my computer. I'm using a MacBook, 8-core i9 processor, but it's still too slow for me now. So I'm probably gonna get a upgrade to the, what is the latest MacBook, M2. Leave me a comment below. What computer are you using? What have you found to be super fast? Because I'm kind of in the market for it for probably next season. Okay, here we go. Let's just toggle the ambient layer off for now. And all we got to do is highlight all these and just come up here to lighten mode. And that will blend all those flash pops together. Now what I like to do to make this simple is just once they're all highlighted, just right click and then merge layers. So now we're just down to 1 flash layer. Turn our ambient layer back on. Turn the ambient layer to luminosity. Now look at the difference that is. Now here's a method that I've used that it works a lot of times, is just taking the ambient layer and going to 50%. And again, it's not always 50%. Sometimes you want a little bit more ambient or a little more flash, depending on how everything looks. But in this case, 50% looks really good. And if you're like, I kind of washed the window out a little bit too much, then you can just do a layer mask, leaving it white. Make sure black is selected over here. Brush tool, I love my flow at 4%. And then we can just start painting back in that window. If in fact we had enough of a window pull. And of course we have the nice spinning wheel there. I got a bunch of other things going on in the background, so this is probably why it's bogging out on me. But that's what that looks like. And then I'm just going to Command S to save it. We're going to bring it back into Lightroom. And it should bring it back in with a TIFF file here at some point. Computer's being slow because I'm doing a screen record also. Maybe it didn't even save it. Command S. There it goes. It's finally saving it. Come on. Any day now. Let's go. Could not complete the save. It's still saving. There we go. Okay. Now we're back into... There it is. Alright. So now I do my interior final bump right here. All I do is drop the blacks down, mess with these, just tweak it a little bit, just give it more punch. I like to bring up the clarity just a little bit, and of course the sharpness and the verticals. I fix the verticals. I just give it a quick look over, and there you go. That is how I do, open spaces super duper quick. Let's run through one more. I'm going to show you how fast a bedroom image can be. Let's see, how about, let's do this one right here. Alright, so we can reset this, and we'll reset, wait, let's see, hold on, yeah, this is the ambient, let's just do this one, reset this one, and then this one's the flash, we'll reset this one. Okay, so I already built a preset over here, is Leiwa first bump, because I'm using the Leiwa 7.5mm, so on Micro Four Thirds, that's actually a 15mm manual lens. I just set it to infinity, it's manual focus, and I don't have to ever mess with that. Leiwa first bump right there. Looks like it's a little yellow. We'll do a ceiling check, there we go. And again, we're using luminosity mode once we bring these in to Photoshop, so it doesn't really have to be perfect. And then our flash shot, Leiwa first bump. Sometimes that's too bright. Again, presets are just a starting point. And there we go. I'm going to bring both these in. edit in, open as in layers in Photoshop, and I'll show you how quickly this is. Notice how I have a really nice clean flash layer, and that's because I don't typically use the flash on top of the camera unless there's no ceiling fan, because being low, the flash is too low, it'll cause shadows on the ceiling fan sometimes. Now if you just hold that flash up as high as you can above your head, making sure it's straight up and down, you usually can get away with no ceiling fan shadows. So let's get these really quick. Watch this. We're going to go into luminosity mode with that ambient layer, and then just drop it to 50%. And again, we can brush back in those windows by just creating a white layer mask, and black is selected if we want. And there we go. We can Command S to save that. And again, you have to develop a system that's really quick. Boom, 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 just like that, just to get that nice color. And we'll do the final bump there. And there you go. I might actually, because this doesn't look too good as far as the verticals go. Here's another trick. We'll use the guided tool. We'll take it right here. You gotta click and drag. Where did our line go? There it is. And let off. And then we can do this side right here. You're gonna click and drag down, making sure it lined up, and there we go. So that looks a lot better. And now our verticals are straight. So leave me a comment below if you have any questions about this method. I know I have a lot of questions all the time about how to make that Godox V1 a trigger. But again, I appreciate your comments, and I answer every comment. So thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye-bye.